Welcome back. Still Rubbing Minds on Channels Television, and of course we're in the final lap. Some backdoor gist joke here. Health is wealth, they say, and the role of health in the nation is very critical. If you're not well or healthy, there's literally nothing you can do. And we have one campaign here in the studio with us, and for those who do know about one campaign, well, you know. For those who don't, well, stick around, we'll give you some more information. And one of their ambassadors is also here in the studio with us, media personality, radio presenter, TV presenter extraordinaire, a friend in the industry, Tools. Toluni, thank you very much for joining us. How are you?
What an introduction.
What an very brief introduction. And of course, we have the Nigerian country rep, Edwin Ihoria. Ihoria. Okay, got that right. Great to have you.
Thank you very much.
This is this is probably a side of you most people do not see.
I know.
We're not going to go too much into that. I'll just focus on what we're here for today, even though I have some personal questions for you.
No personal questions.
But I can slide that in gradually before the end of the show. Edwin, how are you doing? And tell us about the One Campaign.
Okay, One Campaign is an international advocacy organization that is fighting to end poverty, extreme poverty, and preventable diseases. We're headquartered in Washington, D.C., but the Africa operations is headquartered in Johannesburg. But we've been operating in Nigeria for almost 4 or 5 years. But we did a main campaign in Nigeria. We did Do Agree campaign, where we worked with the band and 16 other African artists to promote agriculture, basically as a major lever to bring people out of poverty. So yeah, that's what we've been doing. And then in 2015, we did the Poverty Sexist campaign, and we did a song called Stronger with Waje, Yemi Alade and co. And of course, I'm sure you've seen that Bono has been in and out of Nigeria in the past 2 years, because of very significant interest in the African continent, and more particularly in Nigeria, because if Nigeria gets it right, we are certain that Africa gets it right. If Nigeria fails, it doesn't affect only Africa, it affects the whole of Europe. And if it affects Europe, it affects the US. So basically, Nigeria is like the center of attraction right now for One Campaign, because a lot depends on Nigeria succeeding. And that's why we're doing the Make Nigeria Stronger.
So the Make Nigeria Stronger is focused mostly on health or agricultural area, or just health for now?
For now, the Make Nigeria Stronger campaign is focused on health.
Okay.
And basically, One Campaign does not do interventions directly, like build hospitals and all of that. Okay. So we work at the policy side to ensure that the right policies are in place to make sure that the poorest of the poor have access to the basic necessities, call it the things that drive poverty. So if a poor man is sick, everything else pales. So he will spend his last money to make sure he survives. And if he has to pay so much out of his pocket to stay alive, then he gets deeper into poverty even when he's well. So this is the main issue why health at this point is a critical part of our campaign, and that's what the Make Nigeria Stronger is focused on. And
I'm coming to Tools now. First of all, how did you get into One Campaign? Was it a phone call, text message? Did they fly you out? How did this journey start for you?
Well, I've known about the One Campaign for a few years, and everything that they're about, everything that they were talking about, it did resonate with me. And I basically wanted to be a part of it from the very beginning. And when I got contacted for this, I read through it, and it's actually quite shocking. If you read about the Health Act that was passed in 2014, hasn't been implemented. If you read about the current issues, if you see the statistics that that are currently happening here in Nigeria, and I'm still, every time I think about it, I'm actually quite shocked. The fact that in most parts of the world, the statistics for HIV are dropping, but in Nigeria, they're steadily increasing. I think back in 2014, it was 140,000 people. Now it's 170,000. So it means that we're definitely not getting some things right. And I think the strength of a country, the strength of an economy, definitely depends on having a good healthcare sector.
And Edwin, you mentioned the role of mediating and just making sure the policies are right. How has that been for you from the point of view of One Campaign? Okay,
there are many dimensions to this. Let me take the health sector as a case in point. Sometimes we don't have to give a new policy. Nigeria is blessed with very brilliant minds, and they've thought about many things. The National Health Act, for instance, that Tools mentioned, was in the works for 10 years. It took 10 years to advocate, to push for it, to study it, and with all the minds we came together to say that this is the best way forward. We need a legal system, a legal backing that will strengthen the health system.
What's the gist of this National Health Act? What's the summary of it?
So the summary is that after it was passed in 2014 by President Jonathan, when he signed it into law, 2 years later, nothing has been implemented. Why I needed to give the background is that the plethora of problems with the health sector that Tools mentioned were considered before this Health Act was thought as a panacea. To say, if this gets done, and everybody knows that this is a legal requirement for the government, for the people, for the players in the sector, for the doctors, for everybody to begin to decimate the terrible indices. Some of the indices, if you want to talk about it, that, for instance, under 5 years old, children between 0 and 5 years old, about 750,000 children die annually in this country from preventable diseases. The question is not from mysterious things, from things like diarrhea. Yes, malaria, pneumonia, completely preventable.
Tools, what's your experience been in this regard? Have you been to some places? What have you done since you came on board?
We had a press conference a few weeks ago, and I shared a story that was very personal.